Yo, it's your boy Southside Geek 860. Today we got another video from ScreenCrush, and we got who destroyed the Marvel Multiverse in Avengers Doomsday. Let's get it.
There has been a murder. Someone broke the multiverse. So was it Doctor Doom? Could it still be Kang? Or maybe there's another...
Like the last video, the video before the last one. I watched the first 7 minutes of this when I was taking a shower. So, yeah. But the rest, everything after that, I don't know. And this is a 30-minute long video, so get your snacks, get your drinks, and get comfortable. Please, nobody call me or my phone goes off. Please. All right, let's get it.
Suspect. See, the real murder is... Welcome back to ScreenCrush. I'm Detective Ryan Airy, and today we've got a murder to solve. Are you ready, Inspector Doug?
I'm ready, detective person. Detective mode activated.
Alright, so let's start with the facts. Ever since this saga started, we've been told many times that there's going to be a multiversal war, and it will finally happen in Avengers Doomsday. And that will be the Avengers versus the Fox X-Men. And based on all the evidence, this war will kill the multiverse.
How do we know that?
Well, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars are based on a 2015 story from the Secret Wars comic. That's a crossover event that is about the death of the multiverse. And that seems to be what's happening in the MCU, but since the multiverse is kind of messy, we don't actually know who's responsible for this chaos.
Yeah, but detective person, we already know that. It's all the Kangs.
Well, that used to be the case, but a lot of things have changed since Kang.
I have the book, but like, do I have it where I can grab it? No, I can't. It's under a lot of books on my bookshelf. Never mind. I have the trade paperback and the Secret War omnibus that came out, I think, this year.
Kang was replaced by Doctor Doom. The switch up could mean that Doom will just get Kang's story and motivation. But we gotta go over every clue, follow the evidence wherever it takes us, and investigate all the suspects to solve this mystery.
There's been a murder in Savannah.
But like every murder case, we need to perform an autopsy on the poor multiversal corpse. There are many causes of death for the multiverse. Some of them aren't even canon anymore. Time travel, multiversal tampering, reality-breaking memory spells, multiversal possession, rifts that rupture space-time, nexus events, canon events, absolute points in time, and more. All of these things can trigger incursions. Jim, take it away.
An incursion occurs when the boundary between two universes erodes and they collide, destroying one or both entirely.
The majority of the incursions actually have something to do with magic. Also, in Quantumania, Kang confirms that his variants are triggering incursions by meddling with time and the multiverse. All of this explains why the multiversal war in Doomsday is going to end all of existence.
Put in the comments right now, who do you think he's gonna put the who do you think he thinks is the murderer? Let me know. I know because I watched the first 7 minutes. But yeah, let me know in the comments right now, who do you think? He's going to name them off. And out of those names, who do you think? Let me know in the comments. Gotta engage with y'all somehow.
Variants from different universes will have to fight to save their realities as the entire multiverse is collapsing. And someone set off the chain reaction that triggered all of these incursions.
Okay, who done it?
Okay, time to look at all of our suspects. All of them are somehow guilty of this multiversal crisis. But only one of them is the true killer, and spoiler alert, it's not who you think.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
Our first suspect is Kang the Conqueror. Well, it's more like many suspects, since it's also He Who Remains and all the lame-ass Kangs from the Council of Kangs. In the early days of this saga, the plan was for Kang to be the Thanos of the multiverse. There are multiple exposition dumps of Kangs talking about how the other Kangs are breaking the multiverse. There was a war, and a Kang variant created the Sacred Timeline. That's a separate protected universe. This timeline was enforced by the TVA. But then Sylvie kills him, and the Sacred Timeline branches into the multiverse.
Alright, so case solved.
Well, no. Originally, this was supposed to be the inciting event for the multiverse chaos.
He Who Remains is gone, and that allowed a spell to go wrong in Spider-Man No Way Home, which leads to the entire multiverse going quite mad in this.
But then Marvel threw Kang into a multiversal trash compactor and replaced him with Doctor Doom.
I am Kang. Shut up, bitch.
So Kang is no longer a factor in this murder mystery or the MCU. They even appear to have written him out of the story in Loki Season 2, making it clear that he no longer matters to the multiverse saga.
I guess one of them caused a little bit of a ruckus on 616 Adjacent Realm, but they handled it.
Damn! He ain't gonna be in Rush Hour 3.
Sylvie and Loki are also off the hook because there's no way that the plot of Doomsday will hinge on something that happened in a Disney Plus show. Now next, You know what, Doug? I can't do it right now. I am overwhelmed.
TT.
This cream is a iron.
Did I break my shit? Too much for my PC?
Birthdays or so let's bring out the next suspect.
Damn.
Wanda. She did some really bad things, and she did mess with the fabric of reality, and then she used the Darkhold to dreamwalk and murder the Illuminati. For a while, everybody thought that this moment from WandaVision is where Wanda breaks the multiverse.
You don't know what you've done.
Okay, so this time, case closed.
Now, dude, of course not. This isn't the moment the multiverse breaks. And I'm not even sure if Elizabeth Olsen will be back for Doomsday. So Wanda, not guilty. Next suspect, Spider-Man. We know from the Spider-Verse movies that these spider people are integral to the multiverse. Peter is an idiot who risked the universe with a memory spell, and it's his stupidity that almost broke reality, but he wasn't the one who cast that spell. So this brings us to our final two suspects. The first is Dr. Doom.
Yeah, case closed. I knew it. Of course it's Doom.
But Doom is not guilty.
Right, I quit. No more detective work for me.
Look, maybe Doomsday will reveal that it was Doom all along, but right now, we know nothing about the MCU's version of Dr. Doom. The only evidence we've got about Doom is from the comics. In Secret Wars, Doom is revealed to technically be responsible for the deaths of the multiverse, but it's complicated. There are these other cosmic beings who initiated the incursions, and Doom simply accelerated the death of the multiverse, but it was sort of an accident.
Well, I didn't mean to do it was an accident.
So it's more like Doom commits multiversal manslaughter, but it's not the smoking gun we're looking for. And honestly, we don't think it works if Doom is the killer.
Or why not?
Well, Doom is obsessed with ruling the world, so it makes for a better story if he actually tries to fix the multiverse. But since we're talking about Dr. Doom, he decides to rule everything because that's the only way for him to know how to fix things. Anyways, since we don't think it's Doom, it's time to reveal the true killer of the multiverse.
I know who did it. You do? And furthermore, I'm going to tell you how it was all.
Who do you think it is? Who do you think it is? Probably obvious. Probably mad obvious. Yeah, let me know. 3, 2, 1.
Done. Follow me.
Dr. Stephen Strange.
Okay.
Doctor Strange? Really? I don't believe you. That's some damn sloppy detective work, person.
Well, look, we can prove it. Let's start with the obvious evidence and then explain how Doctor Strange broke the multiverse and how all of this is going to connect to Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. The first time we hear the term multiverse was in a Doctor Strange movie.
Who are you in this vast multiverse?
In No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness, Strange is integral to everything that happens with the multiverse. Just in Phase 4 alone, at least 4 Steven variants triggered incursions. Our Strange, the one from Earth 616, triggered the incursion in No Way Home with a memory spell. And yes, it's an incursion. We're going to prove that in a moment. And he also dreamwalks with the Darkhold to save America Chavez from Wanda. And despite all the warnings that such unnatural dark magic triggers incursions, Steven still takes the risk. And he actually does trigger an incursion.
Satanic black magic. Sick shit.
And all the other Steven variants do the exact same thing. And Evil Strange literally became a serial killer who kills his own variants.
You ever had that dream where you're falling as if you've been pushed off a tall building? That was probably me.
And then there's the Evil Strange from What If. He kills his universe after he messes with some really dark magic and the Time Stone.
From our experience, the greatest danger to the multiverse, it turns out, is Doctor Strange.
So you see the pattern?
Yeah, I got it. It's Dr. Evil.
No, I'm talking about how all these incursions were triggered by magic. However, these incursions are only the symptom of Steven's actions long ago.
Look, if you're not going to start making sense, I'm just going to have to put this thing back on.
As a surgeon, Steven performed miracles, and this made him arrogant and selfish. He cared more about his reputation than actually helping his patients. As the Sorcerer Supreme, he learned humility and the danger of magic. So this made him the pragmatist in the conflict with Thanos.
If it comes to saving you, or the kid, or the Time Stone, I will not hesitate to let either of you die, because the universe depends on it.
But then he got fired and just went back to his old habits. So when he performed that memory spell, it wasn't really about helping Peter, it's about Steven's vanity.
Do you remember the full moon party at Carmitage?
No, exactly.
He wants to prove that he can do it, stick it to Wong, and this almost shatters reality. He's told about the risks of the Darkhold, but he still dreamwalks because usually when he breaks the rules, things just seem to work out. He faced a giant demon and he beat him. He risked the universe with a snap and it worked out. And when he breaks things, he just justifies it as,
I did what I had to do.
Until they didn't.
You still think there will be no consequences, Strange? No price to pay?
The death of the multiverse comes down to two fundamental aspects: time and magic. Let me take you back to the first Doctor Strange movie when Stephen nearly breaks space-time with the Time Stone. Stephen breaks into the forbidden parts of the library and immediately grabs the Time Stone and starts messing with it without even reading the warnings.
I really should put the warnings before the spell.
But then he reads about Dormammu and he starts harnessing energy from the dark dimension while using the Time Stone. So this creates these fractures in space-time. And just listen to what Wong and Mordo say.
Temporal manipulations can create branches in time, unstable dimensional openings, spatial paradoxes, time loops.
You weren't manipulating the space-time continuum, you were breaking it.
So you're saying this is the moment Strange broke the multiverse?
Well, not exactly, but this is the start of a chain of events that culminates with Stephen breaking the multiverse. And these fractures, they look exactly like the glass effects from No Way Home, signifying how fragile the multiverse is. This glass crystal is also seen when Stephen and America jump between universes. And we see it in the show What If, depicting the barriers between universes. And of course, this effect is also in the quantum realm, especially when the Avengers use it for time travel. So this crystal glass effect represents the multiverse, the space-time boundary of universes. And Stephen almost broke it. We even see that when the cracks are formed, mirroring Stephen, but each one is slightly different. Similar to how Stephen sees all of those millions of possible futures in Infinity War. But also, this is what happens to Ant-Man when he's caught in Kang's multiversal engine.
Every choice you could make existing all at once.
What's he saying?
You're inside Schrodinger's box, and you're the cat.
And in a way, this is also what happens in the mirror dimension. It's a separate reality that runs parallel to the main universe, and it basically shows all of these variations that mirror the regular timeline. Now, these cracks don't appear when Thanos uses the Time Stone, and this is because, at this moment, Stephen is harnessing magic from the Dark Dimension. So to refresh your memory, the Dark Dimension is a universe where time works differently from the main universe, similar to the realities like the Quantum Realm, the Astral Plane, and even the TVA. This is important because sorcerers actually harness energy from the multiverse.
How do we know that?
That's how the Ancient One explains it.
We harness energy drawn from other dimensions of the multiverse to make magic.
The Ancient One harnessed energy from the Dark Dimension, and this is how she lived for centuries. The energy from the Dark Dimension stopped her from aging.
The sorcerers of antiquity called the use of this language spells, but if that word offends your modern sensibilities, you can call it a program.
Your ancestors called it magic, and you call it science. Well, I come from a place where they're one and the same thing.
Now sure, ever since WandaVision, Marvel has sort of tried to distance itself from this explanation and just treat magic as spells and witchcraft. But here's the thing, every incursion was actually triggered by magic. And this is important because Doctor Doom is a very powerful magic user, so a lot of this could very easily tie into Avengers Doomsday. So in that same scene, the Ancient One explains the magic is
the source code that shapes reality.
So magic can manipulate reality, sort of like the Infinity Stones. And get this, when someone uses the Time Stone, there's this rune around their arm. This looks like the magical shields that sorcerers use. This even happens when Thanos uses the stone.
Coincidence? I think not!
So here's a crazy theory. We know that the Masters of the Mystic Arts were the keepers of the Time Stone, which was housed in the Eye of Agamotto. Agamotto was the first one to wield the mystic arts, and he formed the Order to protect reality. So what if he learned how to harness multiversal energy from the Time Stone?
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
Well, keep listening. So there's a very popular fan theory that when Odin was out conquering the 9 realms, he himself was trying to assemble the Infinity Gauntlet.
Fake.
But he gave up on this quest and hid the Space Stone on Earth.
The Tesseract was the jewel of Odin's treasure room.
But what if he also gathered the Time Stone and then bestowed it to these human beings who are able to harness the magic to defend the universe and ultimately defend the multiverse?
We gotta properly test this theory.
If you need more proof that the Infinity Stones are tied to magic, remember, Wanda's reality warping witch powers were fully awakened by the Mind Stone. And in What If, the Ancient One uses her Dark Dimension magic to split a timeline in half within the same universe.
Perfectly not confusing.
So clearly, at one point, the MCU is planning on using this connection between magic and the multiverse.
All this because of some stupid memory spell?
Well, Stephen plays down the risks of the spell, but Wong warns them about that.
That spell travels the dark borders between known and unknown reality. It's too dangerous.
Wong must refer to the borders between Earth 616 and the rest of the multiverse, but I assume that by dark borders, he also means some dark magic. The spell doesn't just make everyone forget, it literally reshapes reality in time. It won't just erase memories, it will rewrite those memories into something else. like MJ and Happy having no idea who Peter is at the end of the movie. There are pictures, videos, and social media posts about Peter being Spider-Man. This spell needs to delete all of that from existence, or at the very least, alter it so Peter is not Spider-Man in all of these different newspapers.
Oh, it's just a standard spell of forgetting.
Liar!
The spell echoes throughout other universes, while Steven is harnessing energy from other realities to cast the spell. And this explains how this seemingly harmless spell turns into an incursion. And this also explains why dreamwalking almost always triggers incursions. When Wanda dreamwalks, her astral form basically bounces between countless universes until she finds her variant. Like the memory spell, this creates fractures that tamper with the boundaries of space-time. And another important thing to remember is this scene from Multiverse of Madness.
You caused an incursion, then we're gonna fix it.
There is a way to fix incursions, and considering that Clea is a very powerful sorceress from the Dark Dimension, I bet magic is involved. So this connection between magic and the multiverse and even time travel could be the smoking gun that explains everything about the incursions and why the multiverse is dying. And of course, this will prove that Doctor Strange killed the multiverse.
Stephen, your arrival here confuses and destabilizes reality. The larger the footprint you leave behind, the greater the risk of an incursion.
Simply by traveling to another universe, Steven is risking an incursion. So his presence in a different universe is already tampering with reality. It's almost as if the universe knows he's not supposed to be there, and the longer he stays, the more unstable everything gets. So it appears that any tampering with the multiverse can kill universes. Dark magic simply kills universes like that, and this fact can solve the whole case and even explain a few other things about the multiverse. So for this, we have to go back to the show What If. This Steven variant lost Christine instead of his hands, and he uses the time stone to reverse her death. But the stone creates a time loop. No matter how many times he saves her, Christine still dies. It's like super shitty Groundhog Day. The time stone almost works like a checkpoint in a video game. Strange is driven mad, and he eventually infuses the time stone with so much dark energy that he corrupts the stone. He finally saves Christine, but this kills his universe. And this is because he breaks an absolute point in time.
You cannot reverse an absolute point.
This is a fixed point on the timeline. It must occur or else the universe unravels. In this universe, Strange becomes the Sorcerer Supreme only because Christine died. So, if she lives, Strange is rewriting his own destiny and his own existence.
Erased from existence.
So, breaking the absolute time with magic and a corrupted Infinity Stone kills the universe. The absolute point in time works exactly like the anchor beams from Deadpool and Wolverine, the canon events from Across the Spider-Verse, and even the Nexus events from Loki.
What happens when a Nexus event branches past Redline?
Very bad things.
Anchor beams are so essential to their universes that without them, their realities begin to decay. And the canon events work basically like absolute points. These are predestined points on the timeline that must happen. Every spider person must experience a tragic death of a loved one to make them better heroes, like Uncle Ben dying. And we also think this works for every universe in the MCU. So I guess it's a given that every Steven variant breaks his universe. Each universe has its fated order of events that must occur, otherwise reality breaks. Then all of these multiversal traveling and intrusions are destabilizing these timelines.
Anybody knows you gotta keep your worlds apart!
So this explains why all the spider variants in No Way Home led to the universe shattering. They're not supposed to be there. Now, it used to be the TVA were the people cleaning up the timeline, but now they're no longer equipped to handle such a large-scale crisis. Steven saved the universe from this incursion, but the damage is already done. The Earth 616 timeline's out of trouble because of those villains in the Peters, but it also means that their timelines are also screwed.
But why?
Well, in their original universes, the villains die, but now all of them are going back to 5 separate universes.
I promise you this will make sense.
Green Goblin and Doc Ock are in the same universe, but in Doc Ock's timeline, Osborn is already dead, so now it's separate timelines.
You died, Norman.
They both died, fighting Spider-Man.
So either...
Alright, hold up. Let me tell you my theory about that. Let me hear this one more time.
But why?
Well, in their original universe, but the damage is already done. The Earth 616 timeline's out of trouble because of those villains in the Peters, but it also means that their timelines are also screwed.
But why?
Well, in their original universes, the villains die, but now all of them are going back to 5 separate universes.
I promise you this will make sense.
Green Goblin and Doc Ock are in the same universe, but in Doc Ock's timeline, Osborn is already dead, so now it's separate timelines.
You died, Norman.
They both died, fighting Spider-Man.
So either Norman will be back to the very moment he dies, or Norman will be back and convince Peter that he isn't evil anymore, and this creates a new branch. But their deaths are defining moments in Peter's story, so if they live, everything changes, meaning more branching timelines. And
Okay, so no, I don't. My theory is not the same shit then. Okay, because what my theory was, cause I think it's what he's saying, is Toby and Andrew are from the universes from the movies that we've seen, but the villains, Doc Ock, Green Goblin, Lizard, Electro, Sandman, they're from universes that are the almost exact same as Toby and Andrew's, but at the point in time before they died. You know what I'm trying to say? So not those same universes that Toby and Andrew from that movie's in. No, they're from different universes that have variants of Toby and Andrew, but they're from the point before they died. Not from the same point in time of where Toby and Andrew from No Way Home. You know what I'm trying to say? Hope you understood me.
more chaos.
You break enough cannon, save enough captains, and we could lose everything.
But keep in mind that when the spell is unleashed, the sky is filled with countless variants from many other universes, and they're all being pulled into Earth 616. So that their universes are also affected by what Strange did. And we know that this spell has consequences on other universes because of that terrible Morbius scene with the Vulture.
But I think a bunch of guys like us should team up.
Intriguing.
It's as if anytime somebody tampers with the forces of space-time, the multiverse strikes back and makes things a lot worse.
You mess with time, it tends to mess back.
We actually see this in the Illuminati universe. This Strange dreamwalked to stop Thanos and he triggered an incursion. Earth 838 survives, but karma's a bitch and the Illuminati get slaughtered by the Scarlet Witch. And since the Illuminati are Earth's mightiest heroes in this universe, the whole reality is screwed. And this happens to Earth 616. This cascading chaos in the multiverse starts only after Steven triggers the memory spell incursion. There are those rifts in the Marvels. Those fractures in space created a rift to another universe.
You somehow crossed through a tear in space-time. You are now in a reality parallel to your own.
And maybe the reason Wanda could dreamwalk is because Steven fractured the boundaries of the universe, allowing Wanda to invade other realities. So this incursion is like a crack in the wall that protected Earth 616 from the rest of the multiverse. And Steven shattered that wall.
When I became a doctor, I swore an oath to do no harm.
You, our friend, had caused the annihilation of another universe.
All right, and that's why the multiverse is dying.
Yeah, and this should be all the proof that we need to lock that doctor up. Unless...
Tell me every last detail.
Remove one of the stones, and that close splits.
You have to return the stones to the exact moment you got them. You're gonna open up a bunch of nasty alternative realities.
There was no other way. You mess with time, it tends to mess back.
There is one thing missing here. The connection to Avengers Doomsday, Secret Wars, and of course Doctor Doom. And we figured it out. Steven breaks the boundaries of the universe in No Way Home, but his multiversal murder streak starts in Infinity War and Endgame. And this is how all of this connects to Doomsday. The Russo brothers said that only Robert Downey Jr. could play their Doctor Doom, and it all connects to the snap in Endgame. And we think that Doomsday will tie a lot into Endgame because that will be the MCU's way to rectify the multiverse saga. And it all goes back to the time heist.
A donut hole in a donut's hole. But we must look a little closer.
So I'm sure you remember what happens in Endgame. The Avengers go back in time to steal Infinity Stones, and the time heist created at least 5 new timelines.
But I thought Steve returned the stones.
Well, the rules of time travel clearly state that
if you travel to the past, that past becomes your future, and your former present becomes the past.
Even if Steve brought all the stones back to the very moment they were taken and he didn't create more branches accidentally, those original timelines that were created in the time heist weren't fixed. Maybe I'm overthinking this too much, I mean I probably am, but when Steve went back, he just created a second wave of branches.
These timelines are so confusing.
We explained all of this in this video and why all of those branches are doomed and screwed over the multiverse. And at least 2 of these timelines will be crucial in Doomsday. In the 2012 branch, Loki steals the Tesseract and teleports away. But then he's arrested by the TVA and they pruned all the branches. Loki is even told by the TVA the time heist was supposed to happen.
What they did was supposed to happen. You escaping was not.
But who's running the TVA?
The Kang that remains.
Exactly. we don't really need to talk about Kang anymore, but in actuality, he benefits from these new timelines. And those 2 seasons of the show were really all about showing how Kang is full of shit and everything the TVA believes is a lie. The time heist is an absolute point in time, so you cannot erase those branch timelines. Loki is proof of that.
You said 1 out of 14 million we win, yeah? Tell me this is it.
If I tell you what happens, it won't happen.
The Kangs are erased, and also Loki blows up the temporal loom. That was the thing that was pruning timelines. So without it, universes branch endlessly, and that's how we have the multiversal tree. And Loki sits at its center, holding all of reality in his hands.
Where does he poop?
And this is why we believe that when Tony creates time travel, he actually created the multiverse.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, you gotta explain that.
Alright, so in the MCU, time travel is directly connected to multiversal travel, because every trip in time creates a new branch, and that branch grows into a new universe. And when somebody tampers with the multiverse, it results in branches from one universe growing and merging with the timelines of others. Space-time became so cluttered because the time stream of one timeline was now influencing the others. This is what breaks canon events and absolute points. The overgrowing branches created a multiversal spaghetti. And during an incursion, there's this spaghettification effect. And we see this effect in many other projects. It's like reality is unraveling.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti. Everything is being pulled up into some singularity. Now, when the Ancient One talks with Banner about time travel, she tells him,
remove one of the stones, and that flow splits.
Yes, the moment Banner tells her that Strange sent him, the Ancient One pretty much says, "F everything I said, just take the stone." But that's the thing, the time heist happens because Strange gives the stone to Thanos.
We tampered with the stability of space-time to resurrect countless lives. Do you want to do it again now just because yours got messy?
Now, I am not going to blame Strange for the snap or the time heist. That time, he was actually right, and there was
no other way.
But just look at the domino effect that follows his one decision. Strange gives Thanos the stone so he can do the snap and half of the universe turns to dust. This forces Tony to create time travel. Time heist happens. And then Tony needs to sacrifice himself because, according to Strange, it's the only way. So Peter then has an existential crisis because his Iron Daddy is dead, which compels him to give Edith to Mysterio. Then Beck frames Peter and reveals his identity, and this results in Peter asking Strange for help, and this is how the memory spell happens. And this spell breaks the boundaries that protect Earth 616, triggering multiversal chaos.
Action, reaction, cause, and effect.
But another domino effect is that Thanos goes to Wakanda and kills Vision. This makes Wanda go insane. Strange doesn't help Wanda at all, even after the Westview incident, and that's despite him saying once,
So I keep a watch list of individuals and beings from other realms that may be a threat to this world.
So Wanda starts messing with the multiverse, and she can do that only because Steven broke the walls that stop that sort of thing in the sacred timeline. So Strange needs to dreamwalk to stop her, which triggers another incursion. See, it all starts with Stephen Strange. He is the catalyst of all this madness. Without him, there's no time heist, there's no time travel, there is no multiversal war. So technically, the Ancient One was right when she said,
without our chief weapon against the forces of darkness, our world would be overrun.
She might have been referring to Dormammu, but in actuality, the time heist actually doomed the multiverse.
We thought we might start a chain reaction that would destroy the entire world. I believe we did.
And the proof that all of these timelines the Avengers created weren't erased is Captain America. Chris Evans and Haley Atwell will be in Doomsday, and it will make the most sense that they'll be back as Steve and Peggy from that last timeline that we see in the movie. I don't really see Evans playing another variant. I mean, we already did that. So after Steve returned all the stones, he created a new branch in the 1940s by staying with Peggy. And I'm sure the Russos will explore this in Doomsday, since people are still confused about how Old Man Steve somehow ends up in the present. And this is how it connects to Doctor Doom. So you probably know that our theory is that Doom is actually a variant of Tony Stark. This is why the Russos said that only Downey Jr. could play Doom, and that his origins are connected to the snap. So, in all likelihood, Doom Tony is from the one branching timeline that was created in the time heist. One way or the other, he will discover that all of that chaos that is killing the multiverse starts with Doctor Strange. And this is a perfect twist for the story. We all assume that since Doom is the villain, it means that he's killing the multiverse. But in reality, he's trying to fix it. Because that's Doom's story in the comics. He's an egomaniacal tyrant who believes that he has to rule the world so he can make it better. And in a way, this is also Tony's biggest flaw.
That what we needed was a pseudo-armor around the world, whether it impacted our precious freedoms.
So in Doomsday, Doom Tony will see that he must take control over the multiverse to save it from incursions. And this goes back to Doctor Strange, because Clea tells him that they need to fix the incursion that he started. And we think that she's taking him to Doom. And we're actually going to see Strange working with Doom to save the multiverse.
Doctor? Doctor? Doctor?
Doctor?
But why would Doom want Strange's help after he broke the multiverse?
True, but in Secret Wars, Doom and Strange work together to save the multiverse. Also, in the comics, Doctor Doom is a very powerful magic user. And this will probably also happen in the MCU because magic is so integral to the multiverse. And we believe that Doom's way of fixing the multiverse is to create one perfect timeline, just like the sacred timeline. And that will be his version of Battleworld.
One that could save the entire sacred timeline from a possibly grisly fate sometime in the future, which may very well need to be avenged.
So this was Kang's plan, but this is also the most logical plan for a multiversal villain. Because no multiverse means no branching timelines, no incursion, so no chaos. And Steven will work with him because of his guilt over his part in breaking the multiverse. He's also got that evil third eye, which will probably corrupt him. But more importantly, Steven was a surgeon, so he understands that sometimes a good doctor has to cut off a corrupt limb to save the body. Or in this case, he needs to cut down a lot of tree branches to save the multiverse.
In the grand calculus of the multiverse, their sacrifice means infinitely more than their lives.
So the evidence is clear. It's Steven's arrogance that broke the multiverse, and now Dr. Doom must fix it. Case closed. So, what do you guys think? Did Strange break the multiverse? If not, who do you think it was? And don't you dare say it was Agatha all along. Big shout out to Pavel T, who wrote and edited this video, and let us know what you think on Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, or on our free-to-join Discord server. Links for everything are below, and if it's your first time here, please subscribe, smash that bell for alerts. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.
Like always, let me know what y'all think. And yeah, I'm gonna get out this shit fast. Yeah, so yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, deuces.